This tutorial will help you to complete the questions on homework number 6. The first topic is equations in context, which is a multiple choice question. So this one will give you 4 choices that show tape diagrams or visual representations of an algebraic equation. So members of a softball team raised $2,017.50 to go to a tournament. They rented a bus for $1162.50 and budgeted $45 per player for the meals. Which tape diagram could be used to represent the context if X represents the number of players the team can bring to the tournament? So let's see here. The first couple of items that I underlined and highlighted was that the team raised a total of $17.50. So that means that the whole tape diagram from beginning to end would be $27.50. Okay, so let's take a look there. When I scroll down here, I can see that choice B does not have a total of $27.50. Choice C does not have a total of $27.50, but A and D do. So I'm going to mark these 2 choices as not an option. And then I'm going to look here at these partial items. And actually, I'm going to pay attention more over here. See that dot, dot, dot? That means that the 45 keeps going, that there's more than 1, 2, 3. There's actually more. So that's what that means. So this one is 45 over and over and over again, or 45x. 45 that varies how many times I need the number 45. And this one has 1162.50x, which means I need the number 1162.50 multiple times. So I'm going to scroll back up and read that text again. Let's see. It said, they rented a bus for $1,162.50. So they rented one bus, so $1162.50 was a one-time charge. But it was $45 per player. So the 45 has to happen over and over and over again. All right. So this one here, choice A, would represent that total with the singular bus charge and the $45 per player. So we're going to choose A. I'm going to submit that answer. Let's try another one. Wyatt buys onions and eggs at the store. He pays a total of 20, right? So that means the whole tape diagram has to be 20. He pays $2.52 for the eggs. So that's a flat fee. $2.52 for the eggs. And he buys 4 bags of onions. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all cost the same amount. So we don't know what that is, but they're all the same letter. And all of that together would represent the $20 that they spent. So some of these are tape diagrams and some of these are not, like this one here. So if I were to write this tape diagram as an equation, it would be that 20 is equal to 252 plus the 4 random costs of the onions. Now I could rearrange this. I could certainly get 252 by itself or 4x by itself. And if I wanted to get 4x by itself, I would minus 252 from both sides. And it would be 20 minus 252, I wrote that wrong, equals 4x, which is not what this says, right? It's not what that says. Close, but not quite. Now let's look at this next one here. 20, 252. There are 3 boxes here, but that one represents dot, 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 represents more, and they're telling us how many. So that matches my tape diagram. So I'm going to go with choice B. Submit my answer. Let's try one more. We can try constructing our own tape diagram. Salma has points card for the movie theater. She receives 30 reward points just for signing up, so she gets a flat 30. So right there's our flat 30. She earns 8.5 points for each visit. So 8.5, another 8.5, another 8.5, dot, 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 right? We don't know how many times she's going to go. She needs 115 points for a free movie ticket. Which equation or diagram could be used to represent the context if X represents the number of visits Salma must make to earn a free movie ticket? So she needs a total of 115. And so we've got our flat 30 and our 8.5 per movie equals 115. So there's our tape diagram. There's our equation. If we look for modifications here, but we definitely don't have 30 multiple times. We do have something similar to this, 8.5, 8.5, 8.5 every time she goes. And then let's take a look at this. Oh, that one also says you have 30 multiple times, which is not true. So none of these two don't work. So now I just got to scroll down and see letter D. So that one was 8.5x equals 30 minus 115. Well, we had 30 plus 8.5x equals 115. And let's see if we modified this, we would minus 30 from each side, which is not what that says. That says the reverse. Right? That's the reverse of what we want. Okay, so it looks like we found our answer again. We have C. Okay, we are going to go to the next lesson, which is write and solve equations in context. Very similar to what I was just writing on the screen here. Valeria has points card for a movie theater. She receives 80 reward points just for signing up. So let's start translating like I was doing before. She receives 80 reward points just for signing up. So she gets 80 one time. Just for signing up, she gets 80 points. She earns 7.5 points each visit. So 80 is a one-time, but then 7.5, 7.5, 7.5. It happens every time she goes, right? 7.5, 7.5, 7.5. It's every time she goes. She needs 185, right? So you could write a tape diagram like that, or you could say she gets 80. Whoops. We can say she gets 80 and then another 7.5 per visit, and she wants 185, right? So there's our sentence. I don't know why this stick is there. Can I get rid of it? So my equation is going to be 80 plus 7.5x equals 185. Ooh, I have to use the letter V. Sorry, I have to use the letter V. Okay, so now I'm going to try solving this. 80 plus 7.5v equals 185 minus 80 minus 80, right? 7.vv equals 5 divided by 7.5 divided by 7.5. Okay, let me fix this number here. I made a mistake. 185 minus 80 is not 5. It is 105. And when I divide by 7.5, I get 14 for my videos. Or, is it videos? Visits. 14 visits. Okay, so we'll type that in here. She needs 14 visits to make all, in order to get that free movie. Let's try one more. Casho needed to get her computer fixed. She took it to the repair store. The technician at the store worked on the computer for 5 hours and charged her $102 for the parts. The total was $627. Write and solve an equation which can be used to determine X, the cost of the labor per hour. Well, we know that she labored for 5 hours. What we don't know is how many hours that was. We also know they charged her $102 just for the parts. So these two items together make that grand total of $627. So that's the equation that you're going to type in here, and then you solve for X. All right, the next topic, 3-step linear equations. This should feel comfortable and familiar to you by now. We've been solving equations for several years, so let's take a look at the steps here. Don't forget to use a calculator if you need some assistance in attending to precision here. I'm going to add 2x to both sides, but there are lots of ways you could start this problem, but I always start with my x's because I want to know if I'm going to have no x's or the same amount of x's on each side. So 5x plus 1 is equal to 36. Subtract 1 on each side and divide both sides by 5. So x is 7. And that's how we're going to solve this equation here. So we type in our answer of 7, and we'll get a new problem. Okay, see? Now they solved theirs differently. They didn't start by adding 2 x's. They started by minusing 1, which I did at a later time. Okay, one more time. 3x plus 3 equals minus 2x minus 17. You could do minus 3 first. 3x equals minus 2x minus 20. You can add 2x. 5x equals minus 20. You can divide by 5 and get your answer of negative 4. All right, pause the movie if you need to watch those again. I'm going to go back to the next topic here, which is linear equations with distribution. And all I really want to concentrate on here is this part, right? Really want to focus on that part with you. So negative 9 is equal to 3 minus 3 parentheses x plus 3. Now this is important because only what is touching these parentheses is going to get distributed. But what's touching this parentheses is an item with an operation sign in front of it, which is also kind of known as its actual sign. So this minus 3 can be treated as a negative 3. And when we distribute a negative 3, it causes some changes to the parts. So this negative 9 stays the same. The equal sign stays the same. The first 3 stays the same. But this minus 3 is going to get multiplied by every item inside the group. So that's minus 3x and minus 9. Now this side of my equation has 2 constants, so I'm going to combine them together. So this 3 and this minus 9 make a minus 6. And next I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And then I'm going to clear my coefficient here. And negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. So we type that in, click yes, and there we have it. All right, now be careful when you are distributing, because the number that touches the parentheses is what's being distributed, even if there isn't a number there. So if there isn't a number there, it's actually a 1. So when I multiply here, I'm going to get negative 18x, but then I'm going to get a positive 2. And over here, I'm going to get a negative 1x, and here I'm going to get a positive 9. I'm going to write that negative 7x at the end. Combining like terms if you can. So now my sentence will be on the left, nothing changes. But on the right, I'm going to get negative 8x. And then as you're working, you can use your inverse operations here to add 18x's on both sides. Right, giving me 2 equals 10x plus 9, minusing 9, x plus 9 minus 7x minus 8x. Minus 9 here. Negative 7 equals 10x. Oh man, this pen is terrible. Divide by 10, divide by 10. So I'm going to write this here as negative 7/10. That's what I'm going to write, because I don't want it to be a decimal. I'm going to write negative 7 over 10. Okay. So they gave it as a decimal, I gave it as a fraction. We both got the final answer correct. Good luck.